Hello everyone, Space Oyster here, and welcome back to Boletaria. In the last part, we explored the third part of the Boletarian Palace, and defeated the demon called the Penetrator. We also rescued Bior, who refused to use himself as a prize, even though he would be a handsome prize.
Do you intend to challenge the king? You may be a great demon hunter, but I fear you may not be ready. The king is defended by the black souls of mighty knights and a fire-breathing dragon. They defeated even myself. That's how I ended up in the dungeon. Beware the limits of your own power.
Yeah, always being aware of your limits is a good thing, but it's rather strange they have him say that at this point in the game.
Hello again. You saved me from great agony. I am sorry, for I cannot offer proper thanks. If you wish, however, I can teach you magic in trade for demon souls. But my witchcraft is of a dark nature, and arouses suspicions. Why not try the magic of Great Sage Frake?
Nah, he won't teach me anything.
Are you certain you wish to learn witchcraft? It would honor me to assist one such as you, but... Are you sure?
I am absolutely sure. Oh, I got her name wrong. I called her Carla, but Carla is the name of the character who is exactly like her in, Dark Souls 3. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I should probably be reading through these, but, you know, whatever. It's more important to go over Uria. So, Uria, she gets repeated, like, almost verbatim in Dark Souls 3. The, Carla will act in the same manner. She'll teach you dark magic, after you rescue her from a prison, which has a key in a different part of the same level. So, oh, yeah. That last spell, that...
If you're ever in need of witchcraft, speak to me.
That last...
It is a dark art, but it is all that I can offer.
That last spell did refer to Astraea's soul as the most impure of all. Neat.
Are you sure?
Alright, anyway, let's talk to her.
Once, I lusted after the power offered by demon souls. I ventured through the fissure into Boletaria, but became trapped in the Nexus. Then the king's executioner Meralda chained me up inside that tower. My thirst for demon souls is no more. On the contrary, I find such power dangerous.
Well,
if you're ever, it is a...
I suppose that's a good attitude to have. Yeah, Uria is such a nice lady. I do like rescuing her. It's a shame that such an important spellcraft vendor is locked in such a late part of the game. But anyway, yeah, so for this part, we're going to be doing the Pure White World Tendency events. So, starting with Boletaria, I believe everything that happened... or everything unique that can happen in the Boletarian Palace is locked to the first world, so it should be pretty easy to explore this part of it, or at the very least. So let us get going! Alright. Yeah, and then I really should have read all the descriptions on those spells she can teach with demon's souls, but whatever. I'm certain that if you are all curious, you are able to read. Hopefully the video quality is good enough for all that. I do try my best. Anyway, yeah, and then this section of the Boletarian Palace, this will open up only at Pure White World Tendency or at Pure Black. Once you've gone in it, it'll stay open no matter what your tendency shifts to, but you do need to have Pure White or Pure Black to get down here. Or get to this part, I should say. I'm not entirely sure what I'd call this section of the palace. I suppose these could be the dungeons or the or I guess it's where they execute people. I don't know if they have a specific name for that. The gallows, I suppose. Yeah, that sounds about right. So these are the gallows. It's very neat that the enemies we encounter here are black phantom dreglings. They make that sound of being summoned in when they show up, which can be startling, because I think that's the same sound that's made when you get invaded. And it seems like these guys are guaranteed to drop Crescent Moon Grass. Yeah, enemies in the Boletarian Palace levels, they seem more likely to drop healing items than enemies in other places. So that's a thing. Anyway, don't forget to apply Second Chance here. I always forget to apply it, but here in particular, you want to make sure you have it because we are about to encounter something. Right. And yeah, there she is. I'll let her introduce herself.
Now, wretched traitor to the king, I, Meralda, shall show you no mercy. Foolish traitor to the king!
Oh my! But yeah, that was Executioner Meralda. Let's check out the description on her clothes. Armor crafted from cloth and leather. The leather straps are wrapped around the armor's width and breadth. In Boletaria, they are worn by executioners, particularly Executioner Meralda, who is known for her lunacy and beautiful voice. Yeah, it's very neat that they mention that she has a beautiful voice. Her voice actress did an amazing job. For the very few lines that Meralda even has, but they're there and she did amazing. Anyway, this part can be extremely tricky. I've heard it's easier to navigate if you go into first-person mode with a bow and aim, but I'm not very good at doing that. Anyway. You do want to drop down, though, because right here is a colorless demon's soul. Those are exceptionally rare. I believe you can only get a grand total of 10 on each new game cycle, and yeah, I'm dead. It doesn't take too long to get back here, though, and fortunately, Meralda, she doesn't respawn. Although that does highlight one tricky aspect to doing world tendency events. So killing Meralda, that technically counts as an event that will darken the world, since she was a human. A living human. Killing living humans will reduce your world tendency, or darken it. And even though Meralda is a hostile NPC that goes out of her way to attack you, and is definitely an evil lady, it still counts, killing her still counts as something that darkens your world. But, if you do something that will affect your world tendency, as long as you never leave the world by touching the Archstone, then your world tendency won't alter permanently until you leave. So don't lose heart if you do something that would alter your world tendency while trying to do all the events. Just make sure that you don't leave the world until you're ready. Although, in my case, I was trying to check if my world tendency or character tendency had shifted because of dealing with Meralda. It's really tough to tell. I hope with the remake they make it a lot more apparent what your tendency is, character or world, because it's a little too vague. Yeah, just a little too vague as is. Wait, what? Why didn't I just fast forward? It would have been so much easier. You know, whatever. I wanted to talk about things and stuff. And then stuff and things. But, yeah, so killing Meralda does, I think it's supposed to alter your tendency, but for some odd reason, whenever I set it to pure white because of UV server, apply now, and, you should be able to experience the last day of the event. I think I'm uploading this on the last day. But anyway, yeah, since UV server allows you to alter the world tendency on its own, and whenever I do that, whenever I change it to pure white, it doesn't seem to change no matter what I do unless I change it manually. It seemed to do that with the, when I changed it to neutral as well, in fact. Like, the entire playthrough, I don't think my world tendency was altered until I changed it to pure white myself. Very, very strange. Although when I change it to pure black and then I do things that would alter the world tendency, that does tend to affect it. I'm not sure why. Yeah, anyway, down here in the sewers is where they throw a lot of bodies, as you can see. And there is a particular armor set, a very heavy armor set, I might add, so make sure you bring the Ring of Herculean Strength. The Brushwood set. So, let's see. Let's check out that item description. Let's see. Here we go. This old helmet was long ago held by the Boletarian royal family. It is excellent for staving off flame. Recently, Bior of the Twin Fangs has been known for wearing it. Its tremendous heaviness greatly impedes stamina regeneration. So, yeah, they mentioned that Bior wears this, but I do believe his younger brother Valorfax also wears it. And, so the likely scenario is that we just found Valorfax's body. There is another place where we can pick up an item that talks about the Twin Fangs and Valorfax in particular. So the story it's likely telling is that Valorfax died. We'll be going to where he was killed, but it was near the dragons, if you remember where that is. So we'll be going there shortly. But Valorfax was likely killed there and then dumped down into this pit. Anyway, yeah, so our next stop is going to be the Dragon Nest. I'll see you guys when we get back there. Alright, and here we are at the Dragon's Nest. You'll notice there are no dragons. I haven't killed them yet, so normally they would be here, but at Pure White World Tendency, they tend to not show up. A guide I looked up for World Tendency events said that it's not necessarily scripted to being at Pure White World Tendency, and that there is... that they have been here before at Pure White World Tendency. I don't know. Every time I've been here, they've never been around when I come to Pure White World Tendency and show up here. So I'm not entirely sure what the actual thing is. But I suppose it's safest to assume that if someone has seen the dragons here at Pure White World Tendency, it's possible that they could be here at Pure White World Tendency. So always be cautious. If you see them here, then it's dangerous. But you can kill the dragons in later parts of the Boletarian Palace, and if you do that, then you don't need to worry about them then you don't have to worry about them being here, because the dragons that show up in later parts, those are the same dragons that otherwise nest here. So, for example, the red dragon is in part 2, and the blue dragon, we'll be dealing with it in part 4, or section 4. I don't know. Anyway, so that is pretty much all the Pure White World Tendency events in Boletaria Palace. There's nothing else that happens exclusively at Pure White. So let's jump ahead to the Stonefang Tunnel. The underground shrine was made to worship as well as seal in the dragon god. The ancestors of the excavators revered it as a god and maintained it well. Ooh, so yeah, that is interesting that the archstones for the archdemons have descriptions on them like that. It definitely encourages people to go back and check out these later levels. Actually, Bior's comment about not being prepared for King Allant, to take on the king, that comes across to me as him suggesting that, you go and explore the other worlds, even though it's very likely that you've explored every other world to its fullest, or close enough that going back seems like a waste of time. So it's very odd that they have him say something along those lines, when the only thing you have left to do is to try and approach the king. Well, that and Pure White and Black World Tendency events, but those are completely optional. You don't even need to worry about doing this stuff. I want to show them off because I think they're neat. Yeah, and then one thing I've always keep forgetting to bring up is the thing I love most about Demon Souls. Well, the Dark Souls series in general, but Demon Souls seems to be the best at it, and that's environmental storytelling, or just putting things in the environment and having that tell the story in and of itself. So where things show up and all that fun stuff tells a story by itself. Oh, alright, anyway, yeah, that is the Dragon Bone Smasher! A bladeless, thick mass of iron used for smashing. The ancient excavators of Stonefang are said to have created it to face dragons. It is imbued with a spell to protect the wielder from fire. Because of its immense weight, blacksmiths joke that it can scarcely be called a sword. Joke's on those blacksmiths, though. It's called the Dragon Bone Smasher, not the Dragon Bone Sword. Anyway, our next world event is going to require us to return to the Archstone, Yeah, well, actually, I think we could have walked there from here, but it's faster to just go through the Archstone, so I'm going to do that. But, yeah, in the meantime, I'm just going to continue rambling about how Demon Souls does a lot of its storytelling through just putting things in the environment in the right places. Like, there's nothing to suggest that Executioner Meralda had anything to do with Valorvax's death, but the fact that his corpse is found behind where she spawns is a good indication that she might have either collected his corpse from the Dragon Den, or she might have, what's the word I'm looking for? Or she might have killed him herself. She did defeat and capture Urea, and I think she also got Bior, so Meralda's definitely got a lot of experience under her belt, for lack of a better word. But yeah, Demon Souls doesn't really state a lot of things directly. And it mostly just leaves it up to the player to discover where things are at and how they relate to one another. And then my brother-in-law actually has that image of Executioner Meralda tattooed on him. It looks very pretty. Yeah, she does have a very neat character design. Alright, anyway, so we're going to have to go forward a little bit. I'll cut ahead and see you guys in a little bit. Alright, here we are. So we're back at this broken elevator shaft. So this part of the Stonefang tunnels, this should take you directly down to Flame Lurker. It's pretty much a direct path, and it's very, very quick. You just have to know the right places to drop down. For the most part, I would suggest just avoiding a lot of the treasures that are hanging around here. A lot of them are very difficult to get to. They're very precarious, so I wouldn't worry about it. Anyway, this little outcropping here is exactly where we need to go. So let's heal up and roll forward to make sure we land on land. All right, and there we are. So that NPC over there is the next person we're visiting. Well, I'm going to shoot these crystal lizards. It's the easiest way to deal with them, to be honest. I would hate to accidentally attack this guy. Alright, anyway, let's go ahead and pick up what they're dropping down.
Ye gads! Oh, you nearly frightened me to death, creeping up on me like that. My name is Scurver. I seek treasures of the unknown. I'm impressed you've come this far. Were you guided by a sixth sense or a brash imprudence? Either way, you've more skill than I. Let us put that skill to work. There is a temple beyond here, below the ground. It is a work of art, molded by the ancient burrowers to appease the bones of dragons. As a precaution, a broad sword which can crush bone and slay dragon is stored in the temple. Truth told, it is the laughing stock of many a swordsmith. They say it's as blunt as a bludgeon. A dull blade meant to slay a dragon. Curious, is it not? I would search for it myself, but I'm afraid I'd fare poorly against the demons. If you happen to come upon the sword, please let me have a look at it. This place is magnificent, eh? The bones of dragons exuding awe. A dream come true.
Alright, so yeah, to show him the Dragon Bone Smasher, you do have to equip it. Don't have to worry about meeting the stat requirements, though. Yeah, and that's a big sword. Alright, very, very big.
Wonderful. The arts of swordsmanship applied in a perfectly useless manner. Oh, do not mind me. Thank you, it was a pleasure. Please, take this as a small show of thanks. Take care of that sword, will you? She's a beauty.
Alright, so he gives you pure Greystone, and if you kill him, he drops the Ronin's Ring, so that can be... I guess you can get it from him if you want to, although since that shows up in the world naturally, you don't really need to worry about killing Scurver the Wanderer for it. And he's such a friendly guy. I mean, why would you want to kill him? Yeah. Anyway, I'll show you how to get down to the bottom from here, so that way if you're looking to use this as a shortcut to get to Flame Lurker, if you're having trouble with that boss, then, yeah, it should be handy. Anyway, I think this is the next safe spot. One funny thing to note about the Dragonbone Smasher is that since it is classified as an Ultra Greatsword, I think, that means when you backstab with it, your character will stab with it, and instead of, smashing whoever you're backstabbing. And that can be hilarious to see, especially if the enemy survives and gets right back up after being impaled, somehow with a blunt sword. That is a hilarious thing to see. Although it's very unlikely that they would survive if you're meeting the stat requirements to use the Dragonbone Smasher. Odds are the damage you can deal with it is immense. I think you need to at least have 30 strength in order to use it with one hand. Quite the hefty investment, and when you two-hand it, it'll deal a whole lot of damage. Oh, wow, that crystal lizard's still here. Got away. Oh well. No, run away. Anyway, yeah, we're at the bottom of the Stonefang Tunnel, and those were the Pure White World Tendency events. So, I'll meet you back at the Nexus, and we're going to be heading to the Tower of Latria next. Archstone of the Demon Old Monk. His revenge complete, the old man withered away, possessed by golden robes of insanity. Too weak to be a demon's vessel, his soul was eaten. Oh, yeah, so that would explain why he summons a black phantom to fight you. It is neat that the game does force you to interact with multiplayer elements by showing a black phantom being summoned, but I do wish the black phantoms that exist in the game, they showed up when you got close and said they were summoning to invade you, being summoned to invade you or something like that. That would have been neat, but since there are black phantom versions of regular enemies, I suppose it wouldn't have been very practical. If you are at Pure Black World Tendency, a lot of those enemies do show up. Anyway, the World Tendency events for the Tower of Latria are parts 1 and 2, but it is best to go to part 2, so I will see you at the spot we need to get for this Pure White World Tendency event. Alright, here we are. So if you'll remember, this is where we cut down the guys who were holding up the first part of the first chain, holding up the big heart in the middle. Anyway, now that our world tendency is white, this bridge has appeared. Once you've crossed this bridge, it stays there, so if your world tendency changes after the fact, and you still haven't climbed all the way up, you're good. You can come back here and should still be there. At least that's what I've read on the internet. And the internet never lies about anything, isn't that right? Anyway, these stairs are precarious to climb. Ugh, very precarious to climb because no railing. And why am I so afraid of heights? I'm a tall person. Oh god, why is... No. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why that last stair is so tough to climb, but anyway. What we got here is the Prison of Hope second floor key. So that key in particular unlocks Lord Ridiel's cell. So that's why you need Pure White World Tendency in order to rescue him. And before we leave this part of the Tower of the Latria, I'm going to go pick up Yurt the Silent Chief's armor. He drops it when he's killed, and I didn't pick it up when I killed him because I knocked him off the edge and I didn't reload. Whenever you kill an enemy and they fall off the edge, if you reload, their loot will show up or spawn where they normally show up. So if you do kill someone through gravity, then that is an effective way to do it. Anyway, I just realized that with the Tower of Latria, they do actually stick to one consistent theme, and that is, or with the level design, I should say, and that is very small walkways. And in the Prison of Hope, they're contained by walls and stuff like that. Here we are, the Gloom set. And then in this part, there are no walls, just sheer drops. Anyway... Black iron armor worn by Yurt, the Silent Chief. A portion of the complete armor set, which has an extremely high level of adhesion. The black iron robs the wearer of his or her body heat, causing them to shiver and breathe out cold air. Its heaviness slightly impedes stamina regeneration. So yeah, that is neat, and I do believe he has abs built in on there, so crap baskets. I almost fell. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to return to the Nexus, and we're going to go to the Shrine of Storms for their Pure White World Tendency events. Oh, right, yeah, no. Yeah, now as I was saying, with the Tower of Latria, it's just, the consistent level theming is fighting in enclosed spaces. So, yeah, that is very neat. And as for why I'm popping a disposable soul there, or consumable soul there, it's so I can keep my weapons equipped, or repaired. Weapon degradation is a very weird system to have in the Souls series, but it is something that you don't want to happen to you, so... and since I'm using a katana, which does have lower durability than most other weapons, I do want to stay on top of that. Alright, anyway, what's next? What's next? Oh, right, yeah. Well, it's a little... I don't really need to cut ahead, but I suppose I could, but, I don't know what else to talk about, really. Well, I guess I could talk about how over here, where I'm going to just drop these chunks of Dragonstone because I'm tired of carrying them, there are a bunch of messages back there that they're all developer messages, and they have a few more explanations on mechanics and stuff. Oh, right, I forgot, we gotta go back to the Tower of Latria. There's more Pure White World Tendency events to show off. Oh, don't get your panties in a twist. I got the key. Alright, come on. Let me talk to him.
Oh, why, thank you. Thank you, kind soul. Please, take this fine piece of work. Besides, I have no use for it now. And thus begins my final, eternal rest.
Ooh, the Dull Rat's ring. Yeah, so he'll, So the Dull Rat's ring, it's, here we go. A simple gold ring engraved with the seal of a small animal. Increases defense when HP is below 30%. Held by Lord Ridiel, known as Little Allant. Yeah, and I think it also said that it's paired with the Clever Rat's ring, so that's neat to know. But, yeah, once he gives that to you, this version of Lord Ridiel won't drop anything, so there's no reason to kill him. He mentioned that he needed to return to his body, and I have heard that there is a corpse here in the Tower of Latria, the first part of it anyway, that it does have a broken phosphorant pole next to it, which is that weapon he's equipped with. Ooh, the three-cornered hat. I didn't read the description, but that's basically Uria the Witch's hat. So if you want to cosplay as her, you can. And, let's see, that key we picked up, it seems to open up all the cells on this floor. Yeah, there is one other section we can go into, but let's open up all these ones first. And I'm not entirely sure where Lord Ridiel's corpse is, but you are able to track it down, so... at the very least, there is that. I did also hear something that, or I did hear that he supposed to reference the fact that it was a fat official that led to him being, locked up. But I've never heard that dialogue from him, so I can't confirm that personally. But if it is the case that it was a, fat official that locked him up, and Lord Ridiel is referred to as Little Allant, oh, and he just dies on us anyway. Anyway, it could be that the fat officials want to get rid of anyone who knows anything about King Allant, or this... yeah, who knows anything about King Allant, because they locked up Bior, and the Twin Fangs were referred to as King Allant's personal knights. They've been, well, I don't know if they personally have been trying to kill, Estrava, but, Estrava's been getting into a lot of trouble, so it's likely that they've been wanting him to be dead too, since he's, you know, the Prince of Boletaria, so he would be connected to King Allant. And then Lord Ridiel being Little Allant also references that. Anyway, at Pure White World Tendency, you can also unlock this door, or I think you need the key for it. I forget which. I don't know. But you cannot. Some of these cells aren't locked, but you are going to need a key to open all of them. So, so we're gonna have to wait till I actually find that key. But yeah, you can actually unlock all these cells too. Great, more mind flayers. Ugh. Also, one thing I just noticed is that they have tentacles wrapped around their robes. That's a very neat detail. They're just a massive tentacle demony thingies. Alright, and there's another one up ahead. Let's see. I just want to shoot him dead. I hate these mind flayers. I hate them so much. Although I did get grabbed by one on my way to Ridiel, so it is possible for me to survive their grab at this point. But even still, it's just unpleasant. I don't want to get grabbed. And being able to hear their bells chiming in the distance is very, very creepy. Yeah, it appears to be locked. I wonder where we get the key. I don't really remember, but I think it's in this part, so you don't have to travel too far for it. Anyway, what else is there to talk about? Yeah. But, oh, well, I guess I was talking about the fat officials trying to get rid of anyone with ties to King Alaunt, so... that has a payoff a bit later that we will get into, but for now I'll just leave it at that. But if it is the case where they actually are trying to get rid of anyone with... Or if that is the case, then it would show that the fat officials also have some sort of influence here in Latria, as well as in Boletaria and Stonefang, since we run into them explicitly there. Oh! This is his corpse. I just noticed the phosphorescent pole right next to it. So, yeah, the corpse we get the important key from is Ridiel's corpse. That is good to know. Yeah, it's a shame he wasn't able to return to it, though. It would have been neat to run into him in the Nexus and get more dialogue. Well, I wonder if that would have happened. And oddly enough, Ridiel seems to be one of those character types that isn't repeated in the future Souls games. I mean, not like there's much to do with him at any rate. Aside from being locked up and trapped from his body, there's not much to say about Lord Ridiel. So, yeah, I can't think of anyone in particular that would be a reference to him in later Souls series, so he's probably the one thing that is unique to Demon Souls. Anyway, let's look at that armor we just picked up, the Rogue's Clothes. A luxurious vest of smooth black cloth, woven with gold thread. Equipment of a mass society who meet in secret to discuss the harnessing... A plain traveling suit which makes long marches possible. However, it is the travel wear of a dirty sage. This shows Sage Frake's origins quite well. But does it? All it tells me is that he's sloppy. Yeah, I forgot how much of the description I gave myself time to read, but it turns out I didn't give myself too much for things and stuff. But anyway, that rogue's attire, that does show up on a prominent NPC that I admittedly didn't interact with enough in this playthrough. I should have done more with them, but by the time they showed up, I was just ready to finish recording. The behavior of these prisoners always seems to fascinate me. Not sure why they would put them all in these different cells and all that, but whatever. I don't know if the particular placement of prisoners has any indication or bearing on the world or any importance or anything like that, but it is a neat detail to notice. But yeah, so those are all the pure white world tendency events for Latria. So next, we're off to the Shrine of Storms. I'll see you there. Like a huge flying stingray, the Storm King is the embodiment of the thoughts of shadow men from hundreds of years ago. Actually, the word shadow men, or the fact that they're called shadow men, that has me wondering. The only enemies I've seen that are named shadow men are the ones that the Reapers summon. So, it makes me curious if the shadow men have actually gone extinct and the Shrine of Storms is a place that has long been abandoned. That would actually make a lot of sense for there being a bunch of skeletons and all that here. That would make a lot of sense. Well, there there actually is a lore guide that is linked to on UV server. Join now. So I should probably read through that. I wonder if they have references to it. In any case, for the Shrine of Storm's Pure White World Tendency events, we're going to be going to the second part first, once again, because there is a certain item we'll need to grab before the event in part 1 for Pure White. Anyway, this Reaper actually reminds me of another thing I should have brought up. With the Armor Spider's Soul, you can make a unique bow called the Lava Bow. The Lava Bow is a highly useful bow to get if you don't want to invest in a lot of dexterity, but you want a good ranged weapon for bow kills and stuff. The Lava Bow will add fire damage to every arrow you fire. They do scale off, or that damage does scale off of magic, so it'll deal more damage for a magic build, but since it has that innate fire damage, you can just equip it and not have to worry about it. Anyway, so at Pure White World Tendency, the corpse that was balanced on that rock falls down, and it has the magic sword Makoto. There we go. An ill-rumored katana mentioned in folklore, it is named for a giant in a distant country. When its unique, long blade meets skin, it tears it apart into a wound that is said will never heal. It is a cursed weapon that devours the wielder's life energy. But despite this, warriors continue to be drawn to this katana. So, yeah, the magic sword Makoto, it is one of the unique swords in the game. I didn't check what stats it scales with, but a unique trait it has that can be both good or bad, depends on what you want it for, is that while it is equipped, it'll constantly drain your health. So if you want to use it as your main weapon, it's good to pair it with stuff that will regenerate your health passively, such as the Adjudicator's Shield and Regenerator's Ring. Because that damage will just constantly tick down. Alternatively, it can be a slow but effective way to make sure your hit points or your health gets to just the right amount to get the benefits of things like the Clever Rat's Ring, Morion Blade, and the Dull Rat's Ring, or Dim Rat's Ring. Anyway, next we're going to have to go to the first part of the Shrine of Storms, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, here we are. So, at Pure White World Tendency, an NPC that was on the top of the wall there has come down to talk.
Hey, you over there. You seem to have your head about you. Come here. I have a proposal for you. Do not be afraid. You have much to gain.
Oh god, we're wearing the same outfit. This is so embarrassing. Eh.
I am Satsuki. I seek a keepsake of my father. Have you seen the sword inscribed? Makoto, I will offer you demon souls if you can help me find it.
Oh, okay then. Sure, why not?
Ah. You have found the Makoto, have you? Bless your good fortune. And, well, your good work. Now, just hand the Makoto over to me.
Sure.
Yes. Yes. This is she. This luster. It's finally mine. Except, could this sword really be as deadly as the rumors claim? There is only one way to find out.
Yeah, so he will attack you if you give him the sword. He will also attack you if you don't give him the sword. And he will attack you if you have this sword equipped when you talk to him. And as you can see, his health is slowly ticking down, so if you're having trouble fighting him, I suppose you can safely back off and just watch his health whittle away. Although I do believe he has healing grass on him, so you don't want to extend the fight too much. And if you did give him the sword, then he drops it when he dies. Otherwise, I don't know what else he drops. Let's see. And I was going to head back so that way we could go to the Valley of Defilement. You know, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to show off that unintentional shortcut, but I think I'm actually going to show that off at the Pure Black World Tendency event. So, that'll be for the next part. For now, let us... Oh, yeah, my world did darken. Never mind. So, yeah, like it looks like your world can be affected by the things that alter world tendency when you go into them. Anyway, Satsuki, much like what's his name, Yurt the Silent Chief, he's got the same thing going on for him, where he will, where his voice just sounds so sinister that it's tough to really trust him with anything. All right, so. Yeah, and his outfit, I suppose it looks a little bit sinister as well. Let's make sure everything is nice and repaired, because we're going to the Valley of Defilement once again. Ugh. So, the Valley of Defilement has a lot of world tendency events. Let's see here. Sorry, past Space Oyster got a bit distracted. I forgot to read the Archstone for Maiden Astraea, but we do have to go to all the world... pretty much every part of the Valley of Defilement once again, so I will get another opportunity for that. Well, we'll show off the event in the first part of the Valley of Defilement, and then go from there. So I'll see you guys when we are at that point. Alright, here we are. So, actually, let's kill this giant depraved one first. Hold on. Ow. Ugh. I hate these things. Ugh. Walking doesn't even work that well. Okay. Anyway, here we are. You may remember this part as the place where, right around the place where the plague-infested rats are. Right here in this little alcove, or this little indent, there is a ladder that will appear at pure white world tendency. So this ladder isn't an alternate way to get to the boss. Rather, this will lead to another area that is very, very handy. Or maybe not very handy. I don't know. Well, I will let you decide once we find out what's back here. Anyway, yeah. This is the part where some of those these depraved ones pushed boulders on us, down on us the first time we came through. And it sounds like there's some more enemies walking around. Oof. And actually, I think those boulders were supposed to drop. I don't know. Anyway, another group. Fortunately, I have gotten a lot stronger, so ambushes like this are a lot easier to handle. Yeah, let's keep our health topped off, because this is the Valley of Defilement. It's called that for a reason. Come on, big boy, come on. Come on. That's it. That's it, come on. A little closer. Oh, look at that, you died. I'm so glad I'm able to take them out in 3 hits. Anyway, yeah, to get up to the very special reward at Pure White World Tendency, you do need to get past a total of at least 4 of these giant depraved ones. So make sure you are prepared to fight them. At least it's going to be a bit safer if you fight them over here, but just a bit safer is still pretty dangerous when dealing with these guys. Alright, one down. And with all these depraved ones, actually, it looks like their lower jaw is broken. Like, their tongues are just wagging around all over the place, and it looks like they can't close their mouths. So I wonder if that is the case, where they all have their jaw broken, or if it's just the way their skulls are shaped. I suppose the implication is that these guys are human, maybe, but it's really tough to tell. Anyway, this is what we came here for. The Istarel. So let's... Oh, come on, you're supposed to read the item description. What are you doing past Space Oyster? Anyway, the Istarel is the weapon that was probably used, or that was used by the knight who was killed by those giant depraved ones. Let's see, here we go. A short spear of hard oak. It is covered with engravings and is one of the few revelations from God. Once belonged to the holy knight Lizea, its holiness increases the wielder's resistance to plague and poison. Yeah, and I think it scales a lot off of dexterity and faith, so if you're using those 2 stats, it's a very good weapon to consider. Now, let's see, so let's go ahead and return to the Nexus. The next part we're going to have to visit is deep into part 2 of the Valley of Defilement. But anyway, the knight I already forgot how to pronounce her name, but the knight who wielded that was likely killed by those 3 giant depraved ones, and then their corpse fell into a pile of leeches, and then the leeches that devoured her soul were what turned into Leechmonger. Or at least I think that is the story they're telling, because that is right above the boss room for Leechmonger. So yeah, it is very neat that with most of the demons, there is some indication that they used to be someone when they were, before they got turned into a demon. Let's see here. Actually, the next world event for the Valley of Defilement, it's not in the second part of the world. It's actually in Maiden Estrella's boss room. So actually, we'll do that first. Once a 6th saint, Estrella lived with those awaiting death in the Valley of Defilement. She pledged herself to a demon soul rather than a cruel god to ease the pain of the people there. So I think the part of the story with Maiden Estrella I forgot to mention is that she was already in the Valley of Defilement trying to help people, and then the colorless fog swept over and she lost all of her faith in God. Yeah, Fast-Paced Oyster got really distracted here. I was looking up the Pure White World events for the Valley of Defilement. One of them is, like I said, Maiden Estrella's boss room. But the easiest way to get to it is to approach it the same way you did last time, by going from the Dirty Colossus Stone. Alright. Sage Frake actually looks kind of handsome in that. Well, that's just me liking facial hair. Anyway. And I guess that art is very neat because it looks like he's holding a wooden catalyst and Jerry's stiletto. I do believe those are a weapon or items that Sage Frake equips if you attack him and make him hostile. But I'm not 100% sure. But anyway. If it isn't already obvious, we're going to have to fight something in Maiden Estrella's boss room. And stalling tactic. Yeah. It's very strange that these guys are still here worshipping Maiden Estrella, even though she's been killed. But, yeah. And it's a very sad story that she came here to help people and lost her faith. Anyway, there we are. A Black Phantom. Garl Vinland's Black Phantom will show up here at Pure White World Tendency after you've killed Maiden Estrella and gotten the blue blood demon soul. But you defeat him pretty much the same way. As far as I can tell, his AI behaves the same way as it does during the boss fight. So he's going to stand there and be content to block your path down to where Maiden Estrella normally would be. So Garl Vinland, it's the Black Phantom of Garl Vinland shouldn't be any more difficult than last time, although I am having trouble parrying him, so yeah, figure that what you will. Actually, the very first time I made it to the Maiden Estrella boss fight, I was actually doing a Faith build, and I thought that Garl Vinland would be extremely easy for me to beat, because I was using the Great Sword of Moonlight, which I already went over heavily, completely ignores shields. However, it's not very effective against Garl Vinland because he has extremely high magic defense. So even though his shield was completely irrelevant, he still took almost no damage. And yeah, there are aborted babies in the swamp. Ugh. Anyway, Brammed. A dreadfully enormous coarse iron hammer, one of Vinland's treasures. Its distortion is the mark of an old giant killer, and it increases the wielder's resistance to plague and poison. Even so, it is difficult to use even with both hands if the wielder has normal human strength. So, the Brammed, a holy knight with a, let's look at this. A stone radiant with the light of souls. The color of the light changes according to the souls in the area. It was made by Jerry, a friend of Sage Frake, who is known for his magical crafts. Since it's light and easy to handle, it is widely used by travelers. So, Yeah, that constant light that's around your character, that is an item in your inventory. But I was actually looking up for that thingy-ma-doodad we picked up, and it's actually in the regular item inventory spot, of all places. I thought it'd be with the keys. The Crest of Vinland, a small, intricately decorated crest. The design represents Vinland. Yeah, so Garl Vinland, he does get callbacks. They do call back to him in other Souls games. The one that immediately comes to mind is a guy in Dark Souls 3 who is looking after a lady who was supposed to become a firekeeper. I forgot both their names, but whoever those two people are, they're basically Maiden Estrella and Garl Vinland. The Garl Vinland type of guy even uses a big hammer that's similar to the brand, or Brammed. The only one I can think of in Dark Souls 1 that might come close is Invader on the way to Gravelord Nito. I believe his name is Paladin Leroy. I think he uses a big hammer-like weapon and is considered to be a holy-ish type of person, but it's tough to say. Anyway, so I'll see you at the next Pure White World Tendency event. You can do this other one before encountering the Black Phantom version of Garl Vinland, but I would recommend dealing with the Black Phantom first, since you do want that Crest of Vinland, or you'll need the Crest of Vinland. Anyway, gonna pop on the Regenerator's Ring, because we are going to have to go through the swamp one more time. Anyway, I'll see you when we're at the place with the thing and the stuff. Alright, here we are. So this is right past where we entered the very first fog gate when we came into the second part of the Valley of Defilement. And on a little island over here, there is an NPC. Yeah, here she is.
Why, you are one of the sane ones, are you not? I am Sellen of the West. I seek my brother, Garl Vinland, the knight who accompanied Saint Estrella on her travels. I believe they settled here. If you happen to see my younger brother, please tell me. I must share with him the last words of our father.
Yeah, she does make she can make a comment on how the swamp feels oddly serene, but I didn't hear
This
it myself.
That is a Vinland heirloom meant for my younger brother. So, my brother and Estrella have both strayed from the path of God. The poor souls. Perhaps their hearts were too pure. Mbasa. Oh, traveling warrior. I hesitate to ask, but can you part with that crest? Garl has strayed from the path of righteousness, but I wish to have the heirloom in honor of our Vinland blood. I shall reward you in kind.
Yeah, sure, here you go.
Thank you, kind warrior. As Garl's sister, I express my deepest thanks for your honoring of his name. Please accept this. It was intended for my brother, but now it should belong to you. May the angels gaze favorably upon you. Umbasa.
And then one last thing to note about Celine Vinland here is that she does drop her armor set if you kill her. Let's see. An extremely simple white-silver ring increases miracle memory capacity. A symbol of high status in the church, it is given only to those who are devoted to pure and eternal service to God and constant devout prayer. So, yeah, very neat. I do like... Oh, right, and I found another thieves' ring somewhere. I forget where. I think it was here, but...
May the angels gaze favorably upon you. Umbasa.
Yeah, I couldn't get her to talk about the swamp, but anyway, I'll call that here. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.